This is Miss Ann here at the Warminster Township Free Library, and welcome back to another Take and Make. Today we're going to be making a Mosaic Shamrock craft, so let's get started. First things first, we're going to take a look at what you need in order to make this craft. So if you picked up a kit at the library, your kit's going to include green paper squares. They're varying sizes, and they have different patterns on them, but they're all going to be green. Some are darker, some are lighter. You can kind of mix them up. You're going to get a Shamrock handout craft, kind of like a piece of paper that has a shamrock on it. You're going to need that. And then a piece of string or a piece of yarn. Not included, but also what you'll also need, glue. You can either use craft glue, like glue stick, or you can use a white glue. I used a white glue, but there are some downsides to that, and I'll go over that in a moment. And you'll also need scissors to cut out your craft. So step one is to glue down the paper squares onto the shamrock. So you will find, your glue stick or your white glue. I used the white glue, as you can see, and then I started adding it onto it. You'll notice that some of my pieces of paper overlapped over the border that I've created. That's actually not a bad thing. It's actually a pretty good thing, and we'll kind of go over that in a little bit. So definitely okay to kind of go outside that border. So that's kind of what I'm saying here. You guys can go past that border, and it'll make it, you'll still be able to cut it out, even if you're not going to be able to see the border, because I have a little trick that I'll show you guys in future steps. But feel free to kind of expand. You could probably put them all over, and that's fine. So when you're done, if you're using the white glue, here's the downside. You do have to wait for it to dry. With the craft glue stick, like the glue stick that you might use, you might not have to wait as long. I would still recommend waiting until it's dry, but you might only need to wait like a half hour. I used white glue, and I decided to wait a couple hours. I actually came back to it the next day. But I would recommend at least 2 hours to give it some good drying time, because next you're going to cut things out, and you don't want glue to get all over your scissors. I know, it's the hardest thing is to wait in step number 2. So step number 3 is we have to get ready to cut out our shamrock. You could just go and do that. But some of you guys might have, put out the green paper past the border, and you might not know where to cut. So my recommendation is turn over your shamrock. And when you do that, you'll be able to see the outline on the back. Now, in this picture, what I did is I created a black outline, and I actually went through with a little black marker and created little dots, so I knew where to cut. But you might be able to see it on your own. So by turning it over, you'll be able to see what the outline, what the design of the shamrock used to be, especially if you went past the borders on the other side when you were gluing all those pieces down. So now you want to cut, and you can cut anywhere along that black border that you've created, that was created initially, to create your shamrock. And now again, drawing the line out, that's optional, but I definitely recommend turning it over so that way you can see the shamrock design a little bit better when you're cutting it out. So step 5 is to cut along those lines, and I use the shadow from the front page as my guide. So that's kind of what I was able to do. So step 6, using whatever glue you have, or tape. If you have tape, you could also use that for this step. You can glue on or tape your piece of string to the back. And so that's kind of what it's going to look like. You may need to wait and let it dry a little bit. At this time, this is another optional step, and I didn't include it here, but if you have extra pieces of green paper, if you have crayons, you can decorate this other side, this white side, however you'd like. You can glue down those pieces of paper, and then you'll have the mosaic on both sides. You can just color this green using, crayons, markers, whatever you have. You could write your name on the back. Whatever it is you would like to do, you can do that on the back. It's an optional step. You don't have to do it, but it's something to include. So step 7, just make sure everything is dry before you hang your mosaic shamrock. The worst thing that could happen is that, you thought it was dry, and then you hang it up, and then, it falls. But not a problem. You just have to glue it back together again. So just make sure everything is dry before you hang up your festive shamrock. And of course, enjoy! We hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel under Warminster Library, and check out all the other super simple crafts we have going on through those videos. We have a bunch of them from, many of over the years, so definitely check those out. And stay tuned for next month. We'll be making an April, flower craft. So we hope to see you guys then. And of course, we always hope to see you very soon here at the Warminster Township Free Library.